This will be point or letter C in your outline and in verse 4, if you'll turn back to 1 Corinthians chapter 4. So after about 3.5 years after leaving Corinth, Paul had to write back and address numerous sins in the church. And he's compelled to take kind of a negative track describing 8 character qualities that are inconsistent with love. And that's what he does in this chapter. And these 8 qualities all betray a sinful lack of love that divided the church at Corinth. And Paul plainly states, and here they are, love is not, and here we go, it's not envious. Love is not boastful or arrogant. See, these are some of the issues that were going on in the church. And he says, look, come on. That's not love. That's self-love. Love is not rude. Now, as an elder, run this through our grid. This is our service. Love is not rude. Love is not selfish. Love is not easily angered. A man who flies off the handle, that's not the kind of man you want dealing with the little lambs that have been bought with the blood of Christ. An elder can take criticism. He can step back and take a breath and remember, hey, I'm an under-shepherd. I should be humbled and lowly like the Lord Jesus. Love is not unforgiving. Love does not joy in wrongdoing. And so these 8 vices are totally incompatible with love. And Paul's list serves as an objective standard to correct our own selfish behaviors and to guide us in what he calls the more excellent way. So topping Paul's list of vice, see what's on it, that has wrecked countless churches, even to our day, is envy or jealousy. Oh, well, we're leaders. We don't have to struggle with that. Really? Yes, even missionaries, we get envious. Pastors get jealous. And jealousy divided the church at Corinth. Way back in the beginning of the book, in 1 Corinthians 3:3, here's what Paul says to the Corinthians. For while there is jealousy and strife among you, are you not of the flesh and behaving only in a human way? Those are pretty strong words. In other words, Paul's saying, yeah, a bunch of babies, you're acting like a bunch of unbelievers. This is not how a faith family operates. We don't operate with envy and jealousy. Envy makes one resentful of other stuff. Isn't that what envy is? It covets people's, well, let's keep this in our realm. We covet other people's gifts, their gifting. He preaches better. He's a better elder than I am. He leads more people to the Lord. Do we struggle with those kind of things? If we're honest, I think we'd say yes, at times. And we do struggle with other people's possessions. Got a new car this year. Mine's 12 years old. God, what's going on here? Our positions of influence. All the people go to that elder. Why don't they come to me? I'm an elder. And so we struggle with these kind of things. And so it is suspicious. Envy is suspicious and critical of another's popularity or being used in a more a better way or a more amplified way than I am. And none of us, beloved, are immune from petty, self-centered envy, if we're honest. Even the most committed missionaries and servants of the Lord have struggled with this sin. I wish I had time to tell you some of the struggles as a young missionary that I went through when we first went to South America. And so we need to be, as leaders, we need to be aware that this sin can be prevalent not only amongst our own lives, but in the lives of our churches. So you say, how do you know when a servant gets to this point? Let me give you some examples. We go through this checklist. Maybe they don't apply to you. Maybe this is only the St. Louis zone that this happens. Elders can go to extremes to eliminate somebody from the church who's more gifted than they are because they show them up. We would never do that, would we? Churches can envy other churches that are larger are growing more rapidly. We see a church down the road, and instead of saying, glory to God, we see it as competition. Yeah, but their doctrine, envy. Missionaries can envy other missionaries who are more fruitful, or who are better supported. I can't believe those missionaries. They've only been here for 3 months, and look at what they're doing. I've been here for 10 years. It happens. It happens amongst us, doesn't it? Bible study leaders. Why are there 10 people in that cell group and only 3 come to mind? What's the deal? And we can be envious. And then there's our singers, right? The musicians in our church. I'm sure you don't have this problem in your church, but singers can envy other singers who sing more often or receive louder applauses. This is what envy is called. Elders can envy fellow elders who shine brighter in leadership ability and knowledge. And Paul comes along and he says, look, work together without envy. Yes, more people might be going to this elder, but you shine in this area. Did you forget that? So work together in love. Not everybody's going to be an upfront person or a shiny preacher. Many elders serve from behind the scenes. God sees the behind the scenes person, and that service is as important as the ones up front, just like your body. Your body has many parts, right? All the parts function. All the parts are necessary. If one day you woke up and some of the parts weren't working, it would affect your body. So Paul says, don't envy one another's gifts. Deacons can be envious of fellow other deacons that are, I don't know, get more phone calls. People call them for help more than often. And so, as Christian leaders, our commitment to love should prompt us to consciously rejoice when we see somebody shining. Maybe we're not shining at the moment, but we don't, oh, what about me? We rejoice with those who rejoice. When you hear somebody got a promotion at work, you know what our natural tendency is? Why not me? No. When somebody gets invited to speak at a conference or somebody's praised, we don't envy them, we rejoice. That's what a mature leader does. And so when feelings of envy toward others arise, we have to admit as mature Christians, this is sin and we deal with it. We don't coddle it and nurse it. Letter D in your outline. Verse 4, love does not boast. Okay, like the sin of envy, boasting is a sinful preoccupation with oneself. Braggarts crave attention. They listen in to see if anybody's praising them. They want praise about their abilities, their knowledge, their success, even their suffering for the Lord. Busyness. This is another one. Some people wear busyness as a badge of courage. Oh, I'm so busy in the Lord's work. And, you know, you ask a friend, how you doing? Well, last night I was up till midnight. Tomorrow. It's like, I didn't ask for your schedule. I just said, how are you doing? We must be on guard against this kind of thinking. We must guard, brothers, against building monuments to ourselves. What about me? We have to watch out for having a significance obsession. I'm not that significant as an elder. They all go to the other elders. Watch out for that. Being preoccupied with our own advancement, defending our own importance. All these things start messing with our minds. And Paul comes along and he says, no, that's not what love is. And what makes the problem even more severe is we serve on boards with men who are struggling with the same thing. Can you imagine working on a board with 5 guys and all of they're doing, each one is trying to build a monument to ourselves? No, I wanted to build my monument there. You can't have that space. We need to be watching for this. And promoting ourselves has long been a problem, all through the ages. Remember the trumpet-blowing Pharisees? They were religious show-offs. They walked through the streets. Why? They wanted the people to see the flowing robes and how holy they were. Paul comes along and he says, not like that. That's not what love looks like. And so likewise, believers in the church at Corinth, you read this and your heart aches. It's like, really? They're boasting? Who had superior wisdom? Who was their favorite speaker? Who spoke in tongues better? They were stepping on each other, getting in each other's way. And Paul comes and he says, look, this is not how a church should function. Listen to the quote by William Graham Scroggie. Boasting is always an advertisement of poverty. That's painful, isn't it? Boasting is an advertisement of poverty. And by the way, in Colossians 3:4, here's some good, down-to-earth, common counseling or encouragement. In Colossians 3:4, I believe it is, correct me if I'm wrong, it says, when Christ the Messiah comes, who is your life, your job title, your ministry, your popularity is not your life. We men tend to go through life on the ups and downs of who we are. Do you ever go to a party and you ask, what is the first thing a man says? What do you do? Where do you work? What's your title? You know what we're doing? We're categorizing them. So are you the special agent at the agency? Are you the very special agent? We like to compare ourselves. Boasting is an advertisement of poverty. You know what it does? It mars a leader's character. An obsession with self and significance makes a leader open to a host of all other sins. When your significance is dependent on other things in the assembly, getting praise, being the guy out front, being the most popular elder, it's like a ripple effect. Then you got to gossip to protect yourself. You got to slander others and keep them down so you stay up. I love this quote by Jerry Bridges, one of my favorite authors, by the way. He says on gossip, and this is painful, gossip gives a perverse delight out of running down other people because it makes you feel good about yourself. Isn't that painful? We gossip about others, it's like taking a step up on their back. And we wouldn't want people in our church following our example. Love promotes others. When you see somebody blessed in your assembly, you rejoice with them. So those who are possessed of Christ's love, they delight in focusing the attention on others, in pushing others to center stage, and in sharing the spotlight of attention. Humble people are not self-absorbed. And then finally, letter E, love is not arrogant. Arrogant self-importance is ugly and it's contrary to the example of Christ. After all, as redeemed sinners, what do we have to boast about? Isn't it true that everything we have, whether it's a gifting, whether you're a good teacher, doesn't that all come from the Lord? That's true. I'll close with this story. I've heard it third hand, so I don't know it's true, but this is a perfect example. One day, William McDonald was speaking at a conference, and he was off stage, and one of the conveners was introducing him. And he said, and now Bill McDonald will come. And there was another speaker speaking with him. And the crowd, they started clapping to receive him. And as Bill McDonald was going through the door, he stepped back to let the other less known speaker go first. That is what it's like, putting others first, thinking of others. So those who, listen, I'll close with this quote. Amy Carmichael said this, those who think too much of themselves don't think enough. Isn't that true? And so love is humble, love is modest, and arrogance and boasting mar a leader's testimony.